Hi. Okay, I came in about a minute early. So I know some of you are out there, some of you are still getting on, but didn't want to have any repeat of what happened on Wednesday. So I was definitely making sure that I was on the ball tonight, and YouTube's a lot easier for me because I didn't have to stream. So I'm here, and I think it is just now 5 o'clock. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And I want to actually say a special welcome to, if I can remember her name, which I cannot, but she will know who it is that I'm talking about because she is tuning in from Egypt, where it is midnight, and her name I'm sure will come to me before this is over. As a matter of fact, hopefully she's still awake because she was trying to wait up until midnight so she could catch it there. One of the other ones was at 4 o'clock in the morning. I think that was the Wednesday one. So if I see her name again, it's already up in the scrolls, but if I see her, I will shout out a hi to her because I was so happy that she was excited to join us tonight. So while we've got some folks kind of coming in, I will just make sure that everything looks good to go. And can everybody hear me okay? I see some highs, so I'm guessing they can. And let's see, and I can't scroll up, but can everybody hear me? Just give me a quick yes if you can. And I'll just wait to make sure. Okay, yay. Okay. Anyway, welcome. And it's going to be kind of short and sweet tonight, but I want to make sure that I give kind of a packed piece of something that is coming from the secrets that you can use across the board. And I think it's going to be especially handy this holiday week as far as a brain-based piece, a tenet, which is really where I want to go with everything that we're going to be doing from this point forward, which is just to really pull apart, to extract the pieces that go into not just the secret stories, but into really, really powerful, amped up brain-based learning, and kind of pull it apart so that we can look at pieces separately and then better determine how that can be used to power up other stuff that we're doing in the classroom, where it also may be kind of tricky to drum up kids' interest, whether it's because it's abstract skills, if it's math and you're talking to little teeny guys, whether you're getting into some science vocabulary that isn't really ringing bells with kids who don't have a lot of access to text or strong vocabulary. And I see lots of folks are joining us right now, which is awesome. So I'm going to kind of keep making sure I give this time frame for you to get here. But all those reasons that kids might need a little extra leg up to connect with the content. And I think this week, and you can give me a thumbs up if you feel this pain or not, but it's hard to get kids to connect with much of anything the week before the holidays come because they're just ready. They're gone. And in our heads, we're gone. So it's just tough to kind of connect things when everybody's in different places and there's so many distractions. So I think the same stuff that we're going to talk about for specific content later, we can really apply right now during the course of this week. So that's where I want to jump in. I'm going to try to keep about no more than 10 to 15 minutes of content because what I want to do then is have a lot more time to interact. That was my goal on Wednesday. It didn't quite work out as well as I wanted it to on Wednesday. I had a little tricky time having all different groups streaming at the same time. I think some of you were in group 1, some in group 2, some in group 3 with me, who finally figured out how to turn the thing on correctly and stream it. So I'm not so sure that I'm going to be repeating that aspect, but my goal was that I would be free to interact more with you since I would be able to do that while the broadcast was replaying. So it's a good idea in theory. I'm not so sure it's going to work. Now it looks like we got a good number of folks on, so I think I can go ahead and start. And I will tell you too, I found out that the chat that's on the side of the screen that everybody can see right now, it does kind of poof away as soon as the video is gone, which was tricky for me last time because I couldn't go back and answer and share things that I know some of you are asking about or engage. So what I was able to do is I cut and paste it. I was able to just put it in the comments below. So the very first comment that's pinned to the top of each video section is going to have all of the interaction. But if you want to interact beyond just this chat with folks that you see in this YouTube stream, you can either, if you feel comfortable putting your email there, you can do that. And I mean, I'm happy to remove it when I cut and paste it into the comments box, but at least if you're engaged in a back and forth conversation with someone during our time tonight, you'll be able to reconnect with them, or maybe just make a notation of their name, or you can click on their name during the time and then maybe their YouTube channel profile will pop up and you'll be able to get back to them that way. But even I couldn't access your email addresses from these links once the broadcast is over because the cut and paste doesn't have the links clickable. So, but I would love for you guys to be able to engage and connect, and certainly on the Secret Stories website as well. You're always welcome to do that. Now I'm going to jump right in, and I will tell you about a free download that I'm going to make sure you have, that's going to kind of sum up the first 15 minutes of the video before we get into the questions and answers. And then I'm also going to make sure to post in the description whoever wins tonight's tonight's contest, which will be my daughter's drawing this time, to figure out who wants to take either a Secret Stories kit or something else that maybe is there if you have the kit already. So that'll be also in the mix. But the free giveaway that I want to do for the download tonight, that's going to be posted for 1 hour after this broadcast, I think is going to make an awesome student gift, because especially if they're already using Secret Stories in the classroom, they'll love this. And as far as running it off, that's really all the work you have to do. And then you can send it home and they can just kind of have at it. So I want to get started first with kind of telling you what the track's going to be. I think the best way to do, if I'm going to talk for 15 minutes, the best way to make sure that I can cap it at 15 minutes and yet get as deep as I want to into things. I'm so glad so many of you are coming in. And it's Delia. Delia is the one from Egypt that I wanted to say, yay, you stayed awake. Yay. I told her I'd say hello really loudly, so that, because she had her alarm set for this, but it was on. So that way we could wake her up at the beginning in case she did pass out. Happy you're here. And I'm so happy everybody else is here. Okay. Now, getting each piece kind of touched on and played with in a lot of different ways, and being able to pull it apart, put it together, see what makes it tick. That's what I would like to try to do with these Secret Sundays. So tonight's piece, the piece of the stew that goes into this kind of brain-based bubbling instruction that's going to keep kids anxious and in a good way and on the edge of their seats to learn more, starts with, I think, as I tried to prioritize this, secrets. You know, there's so many aspects of brain-based angles that go into not just Secret Stories, but our natural way of teaching when we're really in the zone. When we're really teaching in the zone, we are naturally applying brain-based tenets without even knowing necessarily what they are. The thing is sometimes when we apply those strategies, there can be some extra fat that we don't know is there, and it's sometimes hard to pull apart or to discern between the fat that's just along for the ride versus what's really powering up that in the zone instruction when we really nailed a lesson or kids just really had those aha moments. So I think taking the piece that we're going to talk about tonight, which is how to make things important to kids, at least one aspect of that is secrets. And this can be applied to so many other things that you're teaching. And there are so many layers to how to really light up kids, how to make things important to kids from a brain-based perspective. But what we want to try to do is replicate all those wonderful things that happen naturally when our teaching just clicks, so that we know what they are, we know how to identify them, and we can really kind of replicate those with intention into other areas of our instructional day, and especially this week. Because this week we have to teach with intention, because if we're not able to hook them, it is going to be a circular situation, because they are going to then drive us out of our mind before the bell ever rings on Friday. So everything that we're talking about today that you could work into different lessons, we're going to look at trying to work into the entire week that we have in front of us starting tomorrow morning. And I am kind of keeping notes of some of the things you're saying. So I will definitely be kind of hitting on some things as we open it up in the last 15 minutes. Now, because there are a lot of ways to get kids pulled in, and when we're looking at what we know about the brain and how kids learn, there are a lot of layers to instruction that really lights fires or pulls this higher level of engagement with kids, that draws out that heightened state of awareness as kids are listening and tuning in and really discerning whether or not what we're saying is worth their effort, worth their interest, and worth the time to really take it in. If they make a determination that what we're saying isn't really connecting with what they understand or what their interests are, then they disengage. And that usually means they kick their neighbor, or they, play with the carpet, or they lick their shoe. So when they disengage, you can read into that there's not something that we're necessarily putting out that is connecting or clicking instantly with their pattern of awareness, what they own, what they bring to the table, what they understand and can relate to. And of course, every kid's different. Some kids can relate to almost anything you say, just like adults. You can sit and talk to some people about anything. And other folks, you might sit there for an hour and it's hard to make conversation because there seems to be very little to connect with. Kids are exactly like that. We know this as teachers. The problem is we don't get to switch topics and up the conversation because the conversation is the lesson. So we can contour the lesson to try to tap into things that might light up a kid, but we can't change the core content of what the objectives are that are in the lesson that we're trying to get across. So sometimes you want to front load what you're about to do and put that hook there, because it's hard to maintain the hook necessarily all the way through that content delivery. Even if you're the most energized, 15 cups of coffee, ready to go, drama major teacher, it's hard to keep the clown show or the heightened, activity, excitement going through, let's say, an entire 40-minute math lesson. So while that might work initially to just get them to tune in, the goal is keeping them there. Now, one of the easiest ways to do this, and there's so many things that we're going to get to in different Secret Sundays. Matter of fact, the next Secret Sunday, I think, is going to be one of my favorite topics. I didn't want to get to it today because, as I said, I'm going to keep this to 15 minutes. So I wanted to chop them in a way that was doable. But these are going to blend together. These first 3 or 4 Secret Sundays are all going toward this premise of how to make things important to kids so that they tune in and we get the most bang for the buck in terms of their engagement level, which means we get greater retention and we get easier retrieval. Secrets are the first scratching of the surface. By default, secrets just make things important to kids. So there's an immediate buy-in, even if they don't know what the secret is, what it's for, or where you're headed with it. It's a fast way to get this heightened state of alert from kids before you start wherever you're going. Now, it's nice if that can be cyclical, which means a certain content or channel of learning that is always considered your secret stuff. It's like your secret drawer. They might not, see the same thing come out of the secret drawer every time, but the drawer itself contains all those secrets. And that is something they equate with, or they associate with something special, something, that they're not supposed to get. And of course, that just from a human nature perspective makes us want it more. So that's really what the magic of a secret is. It's just a way to work with human nature, which is the desire for things that are scarce and that you're not supposed to get and that aren't supposed to be easy to have. And the more we're not supposed to have it, the more, of course, we're going to want it. And that's by default what hooks all humans into wanting to have that secret. Now, having said that, the secret doesn't have to be about secret stories. If you teach secret stories, then you already know how the secrets work with the secret stories. If you don't know what the kind of the intro or the context is that you set before you tell a secret, there is a video link in the description that you'll be able to find, along with a few others where it says digging deeper, so that you can actually see some examples of things that I'm going to talk about, and that'll save me some talking time too, so you'll know and be able to connect it with what I'm telling you. But opening something up that might be a little bit tricky to get across, especially at early grade levels, or if you're working with struggling learners, the more abstract the content is, the more likely it is to be tuned out after a few minutes because you're not able to show it, hold it, do it, and really let the kids engage with it physically. Those types of things, those types of lessons lend themselves very well to being set up as something that is secret, something that's special, something that's 5th grade stuff if you teach 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, something that's high school stuff if you teach 5th grade. Getting that initial buy-in. Now, what that does is it leads to the next best kind of kept secret when it comes to teaching with the brain and mind, which is a need to know. Fostering a need to know is pivotal. If you don't have a need to know in critical, I'm sorry, not pivotal. If you don't have a need to know before you start teaching, the equivalent is tossing a ball out to an empty field. And if you teach something that nobody wants, nobody cares, and nobody even knows what you're talking about, you can talk, but there's no one there to stick it to. If you teach to a need to know, it's like throwing a ball with a catcher's mitt already in place in the brain. So there's a file folder, there's a connection that's pre-made. You front-loaded in a place for that information to go. Because by default, I'm already all ears because something's coming that I already know I want. Even though I don't know what it is, I know I want it because I'm not supposed to have it because it's a secret. You can't underestimate the power of that, because what's fascinating, and this is where the science really trims the fat of what we know works. Like every teacher knows, oh yeah, of course, if I say there's something a secret, they're going to like it. If you know why that works, you can amp it up and make it bigger, better, and stronger. So the reason that it actually works is the brain can't discriminate why it needs to know. So we think of need to know as intellectually curious kids who really have a vested interest in that conversation because they bring some knowledge to the table, and you're going to tell them something about what they already know a little bit about, and they're going to add to that existing knowledge. And kids who are intellectually curious are very easy to teach for that reason. They ask us why all the time. So it's a perfect lead into the lesson we were going to teach anyway. But along the way, it's easy to lose the kids who don't bring to the table something to connect with what we're sharing. And so we can lose them after the first couple of sentences or the first conversation that Johnny engages us in. Secrets are the best way to trigger the brain's need to know, even for kids who don't know enough to know what they need to know. Ignorance is bliss. So if you don't know what you need to know, then the world's fine as it is and you have no need to tune in. So we want to tune them in, and the brain is not able to make a qualitative assessment as to the level of awareness. So what I mean by that is the tune in, the heightened state of awareness, the slight pulse and adrenaline rise, all of the things that occur when you are kind of into what somebody's saying, that heightened state of awareness is actually what marks the information for memory in the brain. So it's a physiological thing. It's not an interest thing. It becomes something that gets marked or stamped as a priority, something to hold, something to keep. It actually goes in a different track for retention because it was taken in under a different umbrella. So what was fascinating to me with the research was to find out that there's no qualitative difference in a learner's need to know, other than there's this heightened state in terms of marking it for memory in the brain. So for marking that information for memory and for prioritized learning in the brain, all you need is a need to know. It doesn't matter why the learner needs to know. Now, obviously, the kids who have some knowledge, some background that they're bringing to the table, they've got more file folders to take and classify what you're sharing inside of. But at least the gist of what you're sharing, the bare bones base, and you want to go slow when you're doing this because you want to make sure that whatever you do in the next 4 or 5 seconds after you kind of heighten that state of awareness and readiness for them to take in and hold on to and then retrieve, you want to make sure that what you toss out is manageable. Now, if it's a secret, it's manageable because it's going in a different door. It's going in a social emotional door, which actually is part of what drives their behavior every day. So you're basically speaking their language. It's non-conscious learning. If it's math or if it's science, it's a little bit different. So you need to make sure that it's in small pieces and that whatever it is you toss out, and that you got about 4 to 6 seconds after you kind of share that a secret's coming and you get that heightened state of awareness and alertness. So when you toss it out, make sure you keep it short and sweet, and then lots of examples, as many as you can. Try not to toss it out and then just go off on a tangent, because you can lose the value of that heightened state of awareness very quickly. It's almost like you get one shot at this absolute, I'm in this game, I'm right here with you, and I'm as attuned as Johnny is. But then you have to be very mindful about how well you're keeping them from that point. With the secrets, I've done that already, but you can replicate that model by looking at, and especially when we do what we're going to do next week, which is that social emotional domain, and really looking at how we can transfer that to math, to science, to other aspects of what we're teaching. But there are a lot of other ways you can do it too. Hands-on manipulatives, humor, storytelling, all of these things are going to be subjects for other secret Sundays nights. That's why this is kind of like the scratching of the surface. But this leads us into all of the power we have as teachers to tackle those kids who come to our classrooms who are just football fields away from where the kid to the right and the kid to the left of them are. And, I'd love to say it gets better as they get up and up and up into the grade levels because they become more consistent in what they know. But it just, they don't. I mean, yes, they're all over the map at the earliest, kindergarten level, but even in second, third, and fourth, I was in a 4th grade classroom and the teacher had kids that ranged from 1st grade level reading to 7th grade level reading. In her 4th grade classroom, and she actually had no kids that qualified for any exceptional support. So that's a huge gap if you consider the audience that she's trying to put a show on for. You know, that's like trying to put a show on for, you know, the elderly, the 5-year-olds and the teens and expect everybody to tune in and enjoy and then have so much to say and share about the show afterward. The more widespread your audience, the harder your work is, or the more distracted your audience is, which is why this is a great topic for this week, because this week everybody's going to be going just insane. So as much as you can start kind of playing with these little pieces, it would be nice if I could get some pieces out, you know, way back, so that this would be like the 5th or 6th Secret Sunday, and then you have more pieces under your belt to employ this week. But for this week only, if you haven't started the secret stories, start them, start playing with them. You don't need to buy the kit in order to start doing it. There's a free download on the website. Download those. Look at the video that's in the link that says how secrets apply to the secret stories. And then you can kind of see the way I'm playing with things and get a good feel for how you could use that to play with a science activity that you're going to do, or how you might incorporate at least a little bit as far as what you can observe before we get through some more Secret Sundays, how that might apply to a math lesson that you could work. So this is a good week for secrets, and it's a great way to connect to secrets because everything's secret right now. Kids walk into their parents' room. It says, Johnny, don't look right now. What is that, Mom? Oh, Christmas isn't a good time, or holidays aren't a good time, you know, for asking questions. Everything's secret. They're not allowed to see anything. They're not allowed to look at anything. They're supposed to not be in the closet or in the bathroom where presents are kept. So it's a great kind of way, if you haven't already started using the secret stories, to start playing with this idea that there are these secrets. And if you are using secret stories, your kids already know there are these things, these grown-up reading and writing secrets that are the reasons that letters do what they do when they don't do what they should. Now, what that does is it's like a magnet with one end that attracts you and one end that repels you. When letters don't make the sounds that, by darn it, they're supposed to, that repels you. It is irritating for us. It's annoying for kids. We don't. If you're a parent, you're probably sick of saying it just is, it just does. You just have to remember, we do not enjoy coming across anti-patterns. We don't like the lack of predictability. The brain's a pattern-making machine. So when we are met with something that never does the same thing twice, we really don't have a way to work with that defies the brain system for learning. And it leads us into repetitious use and practice. And again, that's an unlevel playing field because we got kids who aren't going to have repetitious use and practice outside of our purview in our classroom with them to support them. So that's not the route we want. We want to take a different route where we've got a way to pull them in that's going to be meaningful. And if letters and sounds not doing what they should repels you, the other end of the magnet that attracts you is when there's something cool about that. When that actually just indicates that there's something you don't know, but that you're going to find out because your teacher knows and she'll tell you because you were smart enough to know that it's there. So instead of being something that kids avoid, tune out, and just don't even bother analyzing, they turn into these little monsters. They're like little tax accountants at tax time looking for the flaws in your plan, or little IRS agents. I mean, they're literally digging for holes in the logic that is our language. And that is an incredible train to kind of get behind and just be pulled from, because it really lets kids start to drive their own learning. And that brings me back to where I started, which is need to know. And this is where I'm coming full circle, and I'm doing okay. It's 5:22. So yes, I'm 6 minutes past. So, but that's okay. I'm 1 minute. I'll be wrapped up with my content and I'll be able to get to this great stuff that you're typing. Need to know. Need to know is what it's all about. And the more kids have a desire, a drive, a need to know, the more invested they are in not just that first 5 or 6 seconds of what you're going to toss out, where you then have to try to contour it into something kid friendly, but they're actually into the meat of it. They want to drive it home to fruition. They want to have it culminate into something that they can actually take and walk away with. And that's where the secrets kind of drop these breadcrumbs until the kids are just ravenous kind of secret hunters. And teachers who've been doing this for a while will attest to you. The problem is not, well, how many secrets should I tell? The problem is, oh my gosh, how many should I let them have? Because they're asking for them all the time, or they're seeing them everywhere. So if you've ever walked away from a conference and thought, oh, I wonder which one I'll teach first week and next week, and you don't really get to choose. As soon as the kids adopt the need to know and it's theirs, which takes maybe not even a week, it really shouldn't take a week. It should take about 3 days if you're really letting this flow, like you're going to see in a couple of the videos below. If you're doing that, the kids will start driving that train, and then that really opens the door. And it all starts, again, with a secret, a way to get every single person in your room invested, on board, and ready to hear what you're about to say. And then letting them know that, or at least from the secret stories end of things, if you're working with letters and sounds, that when letters don't do what they should, all that means is there's a secret that I haven't told you yet that you don't know. Now, a way to make sure that that really hits home, there's a video link that you'll see in the description, and it's called "If I Tell You This Secret, Your Brain Could Explode." That may not sound like like something that would be desirable, but it's a great way to really make sure you're using this kind of a strategy or technique in the "I've got it, you want it, I'll decide if you can have it, but I'm not sure." As a matter of fact, I wouldn't hold my breath. This secret's huge. I mean, I've never ever told I've never told a kindergarten class this secret. I've never even told my second grade class this secret. So I don't know. I mean, no problem. I'll think about it, but I'm not sure. Of course, you guys are all staring at me like you can't wait to hear what I'm about to say. So I don't know. Maybe you are ready. And again, why are they staring at me? Because it's a secret. So on that note, the last two clips that I'll tell you that are in the bottom are how much excitement you actually can garner when you have this approach. And you'll see two little kids, or at least video clips that will lead you to these two little kids. One is in kinder and one is in pre-K, and this is the beginning of the school year, and they are teaching you some phonics patterns. But what I want you to note in the kind of back of your mind as you're watching it is their level of excitement over the idea that they're letting you in and any other kids that happen to be listening on this secret. That's the driving force behind everything that they're saying, and behind the level, the depth of retention, that deep in the gut ownership that you have to be able to teach it as easily as you'll see them doing in the video, even though they're only 4 and 5. And that's what makes this brain science just awesome in what we can do and when we can do it and what we can do with it. Okay, I'm done. Now I got my content out, so I am going to go ahead and address some of the stuff that I see here. So definitely shoot in some questions. I already see some great comments. I love it when my stories, this is Emily, I love it when my students find the stories in their reading. Yeah, I mean, there is no secret story time. There's no secret story, 30-minute part of the day. Secrets are everywhere, and kids just keep reading them. And I think I said that on Wednesday in that debacle that was Wednesday night with all those streams, is the little guy that came to his teacher, and I think this was Miss Mack, and I don't know if she's on here, but he said, "I can't turn it off." He goes, I can't turn it off because I see secrets everywhere and I just keep reading them. And I love that. I thought that's exactly right. He goes, I just can't turn it off. I used to just look at words and I could just look at them. But now every time I look at words, I just keep seeing secrets and I just keep reading them and I can't turn it off. Once kids are readers, they can't turn it off. We can't turn it off. We look at words. We can't not read them. You cannot read sight words if you forget the sight word. And we all have kids who can stare at a sight word forever and tell us they don't know what it is because they forgot what the sight word was. But you can't turn off your ability as a reader. So I love that. And I'm glad your kids are seeing secrets everywhere. That is awesome. And I'm realizing I should have brought my glasses. So you're going to love this. I have to put these on just for a second so I can actually see some of these questions. Okay, I'll have my other glasses next time. Isn't this the best, especially when their little faces light up because they can read the word? Yeah, and that's where you get the buy-in past that 5 or 6 seconds. Kids want things of value. If they don't know what they don't know, there's nothing valuable in it for them other than the initial surface secret. But once that tool actually becomes a usable entity that lets them do something, like for instance, let Charlie know he's Charlie, because let's say he knows the secret about CH. So now he gets why he's Charlie and not Kaha. Yeah. So as the secrets become more meaningful to what it is they're doing, and they are going to do this all day, you're reading and writing across the instructional day. So they're getting ample opportunity to see how handy this tool, this hammer comes in, because there are nails everywhere. So it's a perfect storm as long as you've got 2 things rising at the same time. Secrets are powered up by knowing individual letter sounds. Individual letter sounds are powered up by knowing some secrets. So that is the reason we have to drastically accelerate how quickly kids access the individual letters and sounds. You can't get a letter a week and have any ability to transfer those tools into what they see in your reading and writing, because it's just not possible to do. You can't ever see enough consistency with what individual letters and sounds are doing. So if kids have a faster track with the Better Alphabet Song, and I can put that link in this post too. I think I put it in the post for last Secret Sunday, but the Better Alphabet Song, 2 weeks to 2 months. And if that's on track with that 2 weeks to 2 months, then along the way, you're not waiting for 2 months for mastery. Who cares about the mastery? Because mastery won't be done or needed until the end of the year. So you're going to be done for sure in 2 months, and probably more like around a month period. But some kids will be done in 2 weeks. And anytime between that 2-week period and that 2-month period, they've got five letters, 10 letters, 14 letters, 21 letters, every extra letter sound, plus 2 secrets, 3 secrets, 4 secrets, 5 secrets. Those work together for them to do what if I have my glasses on again, what was mentioned about seeing secrets everywhere and seeing them to actually read those words. And again, the more excited they are, the more confident they get, and the more they want secrets, and no longer because they're secrets, but because they want to read this word and that word, and they want to spell this word, and they want to write that story. That becomes the driving force. So then the need to know shifts into I need to know because there's things I need to do with it. And that, by the way, right there is incredibly important. And that's something that is so not typical at the early grade levels. They don't know what they need to do with it. They don't have any idea what these letters and sounds and blends and digraphs and sight words are all supposed to come to. They don't understand because they don't see those as tools. So when they see these as tools, when secrets and letters come together to let them put together and take apart anything, any word, dad's name, a billboard, a recipe, a menu, anything, everything, then it's a tool. If it's one story with 10 memorized sight words that you do in order to read it on Friday, those aren't tools. Those are just props. Those are the word props that you learn to put the show on Friday. And then the show that happens next week, you need different props for. So that's different. And there's not a vested drive for more because they're not necessarily of any value other than the value you ascribe to them by saying you got to know these words to read the story. But they want to know something that lets them read not just that story, their own story and dad's story and mom's book and the recipes in mom's box and the menu on tonight's, restaurant. Then they're tools. And then they start, again, kind of becoming the leaders of their own learning. I would love to know more about WordGel. Okay, that is definitely going to be something that we're going to hit because that opens up a whole nother level of critical thinking and really just these look ridiculous on me. It just transforms everything we're doing into what I kind of like to call it like a playground for critical thinking. I actually put a link in the description and then I took it out because I thought, I don't want to push things together, and it's going to be the topic of the next Secret Sunday, which is going to lead me to WordGel actually, although not in fleshed out. I need a whole fleshed out piece for WordGel as well. But it's a link to a video that I'll share next week. It's actually on YouTube. And I think if you just type in playground with secret stories, it'll probably pop up. But it shows you the dimension of exploration with word study. It's like word study that you've never seen in your life. And it happens when words aren't doing what they should, when letters and sounds aren't doing what they should, even if you know all the secrets. And then what do you do? What can it be? What else can we try? And the fun and the level of thinking, of diagnostic analysis, the critical thinking that you can foster in those kinds of opportunities with text is a whole different level of learning. And to me was the most fun of all. So WordGel goes right along with that. And if you really are dying to know about WordGel just right now, as much as you can learn on it or have it, there is in the vlogs on this YouTube channel, there is a whole section of vlogs on the WordGel. So if you look in those, if you can't find them, you can shoot me a link. I can even try. I need a pencil and paper so I can write down what I'm supposed to do, but I can put a link to the WordGel in this description. I'll remember that. It's actually a 3-vlog series, and you'll also see a blog on it too, so you can actually see what it kind of looks like. But there's so much more depth that's fun to get into with that. So that'll be a topic we will absolutely be hitting. But in the meantime, I'll put the link so you can get a handle on it now. Is there any way it helped children learn how to write the correct way to spell, like make, and make? Yeah, that is such a great question. And that is an experience-based learning kind of exercise. And what I mean by that is the secrets they're not really a program, period. But while they definitely help fine-tune learner choices for spelling, they aren't a words their way for spelling purposes, which is probably why they pair very well with words their way, because words their way doesn't have reasons why things do what they do. They just reinforce the different spelling patterns. The secrets are all about giving kids access to everything they need to start reading and writing from the earliest possible grade level, so that kinders don't have to wait to get the sneaky Y or the mommy E or the babysitter vowels. They don't have to wait to find out how to attack a multisyllabic word. They don't have to wait for anything. The code is there. It's on a buffet. You're having to use it all the time just to do the reading and writing you're doing. So buffet access is plentiful and ongoing. And when they're ready to wake up and literally drink the coffee, it's there, and they can help themselves and even have a biscuit if they're up for it, or some potato salad, because it's all on that buffet. So the secrets are what kids need to read. And then the reading is the best teacher. There's no better teacher. We couldn't even come close to teaching kids as well as experience does. The problem is experience is the best teacher, but kids need at least a bare bones level of skill ability with which to get the experience. And that's the part that's cut off with traditional instruction. They don't have enough of the code to apply or to transfer to the reading and the writing. So they don't get the experience that actually is the best teacher. They get the experience memorizing or seeing sight words that then hopefully are going to be the only words in this story because they don't have enough phonics skills to actually read the words yet. So if it's not a word they know, then they can't get through the book, which means they're not going to be driven to pick up the book. They're only going to pick up the book if you make them. Because who wants to read a book you can't read? That's no fun. So the experience is the best teacher, and the secrets make sure that the kids have what they need to dig in, dive in, and get the experience, not just as a reader, but a writer as well. And then the experience fine tunes the spelling. So I make this point a lot, and you'll see it in the Secret Stories website under the writing samples tab. That's where you can see it fleshed out in real life, because you can see kids and it's set out across the year, beginning kindergarten, Halloween-ish, to the holidays, to leprechaun time, to the end of the year in the spring, and then picking up in first grade, same time frames across the year. You can see the spelling fine tune itself. So they might spell bird, B-U-R-D, in kindergarten in the first part of the year when they learn the which is almost instantly that they learn that. So then they could immediately plug it in and use it. But they might not be able to identify which way to spell the in bird until they've actually come across the word bird a few times. And then they have the visual memory of, oh, bird's I-R. Oh, turns U-R. Oh, hers E-R. But what's critical is that they can read the words bird or turn or her, because by doing so, they get that experience that is 1,000 times more beneficial than anything we could do to really solidify that knowledge. So it's much easier at the early grade levels because you're not playing catch up. If you're working with struggling 3rd, 4th, or 5th graders and you really need to nail spelling for a writing assessment, it's a lot harder because yes, you can give them those secrets and their light bulb pops on, they can actually read. And you can't underestimate the value in that just because then they can't spell yet. The whole goal is kids, you have to be able to read to get on the track for learning. So if you are the teacher that gives them what they need to become a strong reader, and that means read whatever the heck they want, write whatever the story is that they've got inside they want to tell, then they will move. And they might not move to being on grade level with you in that 4th grade year if you're the first person that gave them what they needed to make sense of text. But you've given them everything that they need to actually become a reader, maybe not this year, but next year or the year after. So you gave them everything they never had. And that's really what the secrets do, is they just give kids every single thing they need to read. And whether that's to accelerate kids super fast at an upper grade level and not try to spend 3 years teaching the stuff they didn't get, but be able to kind of give it to them in a booster shot and then let them go. Or whether that's at the early grades, trying to make sense of the text that's in their periphery every day, but they don't have enough skills under their belt yet to connect to it. And again, that favorite quote of, just look at your, what you're doing with your kids and ask, okay, what do my kids bring me to the table to actually do this with? This is our writing activity. What do they have to write with? This is our book that we're reading this week. What do they have to read with? What tools, what parts of the code are they bringing to actually do this with? And if the answer is a B, a D, a P, a K, 3 sight words and the CH sound, well, good luck. You try to do it with just that little batch of the code and see how far you get in that, that level G reader, or see how far you can get with the story you want to write about the magical fish. I like to do that with teachers in PD, actually, because it really does put us in their shoes and let us see the elephant that's in our room every day at the early grades anyway, that we don't see, which is lack of the code, the need to accelerate access to the code. Okay, these silly little glasses on again. It's amazing that I can be more confident. Yes, yes, yes. Secret Santa. Amy wrote, and that was right on my head, and then my head moved faster than my mouth, which is unusual. Usually it's the other way around. And if you look on the Facebook page, and I'm actually going to put this in a blog post, I'm going to do it either tonight or in the next 2 days. There's a great post. It's actually a Facebook post now, but it's about Secret Santa, but it really isn't about Secret Santa. It's about working the secrets into the holidays in the context of everything that we do with Secret Santa, secret gifts, secret everything. And I don't even know how I didn't think to mention that first, even at the onset of this entire post, because really that's probably why this was first and foremost on my mind, is the best place to start for the holidays is Amy's post was right back here. You'll be able to see it. Like I said, I think it's the second Santa post down on the Facebook page. And then I will do a blog post. I will basically just be inserting that into a blog post, which then you can also find through the Facebook page as well. And you'll get a little alert when that's posted as well if you're following and subscribing on the Secret Story site. But you can read it tonight. It's right on the Facebook page. And like I said, the first Santa that you see is just a really great, just a good article. But the next Santa that you see is Amy. Well, not actually Amy, but Amy's thing. And it's great ideas for things you can do this week to incorporate these tools I'm talking about into your holiday stuff that's probably already put into your plans. Better alphabet song. Okay. I use the Better Alphabet song. 21 out of my 23 kids know all their letter names and sounds. Yay. And 21 of my 23 students are ELL. I love that. I mean, that's awesome. I wish I could just say, wow, that's just, that's how it should be. Even teachers that are like, I'll do this, but there's no way. It's not, there's no subjectivity because there's no processing, at least not with that piece. What they do to apply those tools that they have now with a few of their secrets to see how that comes together in words, that's processing. So that's where you can't just keep licking your shoes and playing with the carpet, because that actually takes some of the higher level, the front doors, to kind of connect and open. But those doors come together and work so much better when there's something inside to connect with, meaning when you know those letters, words start to actually click. That word actually does start with a letter that I do know that is at the beginning, and that makes perfect sense. And I see the secret, and that worked too. And I can actually read that word. And therein lies that kid that said, I can't turn it off. I see the word farm, and by darn it, I read the darn thing. It says farm. I wasn't trying to read it. I didn't want to read it, but now I'm stuck reading it. So that's I love that. And that is the goal of the game. And that is the norm. It is easily reproducible. Just do that Better Alphabet song. Do it twice a day, every day. I will do a whole Secret Sunday on that, because there are a couple things you want to make sure you got in place. Muscle, mouth, and eye glue, because those can kill what kids need to connect the sound to the symbol and the symbol to the sound. They got to see what they sing and sing what they see. You can hear and listen to me talk about this all as well. And I will put that link, that one and the WordGel, in the description to this post so that you can start doing that if you haven't already. But yay for you, having that many ELL kids and having done it and having just kind of set that ball rolling and getting that level of success. Hopefully they also have a handful of secrets to pair up with that. And then they can really start to see the connection to the text that they're working with, to the words that are in their, in their environment, everywhere, in the hallway, in the lunchroom, on their backpack, their friends' names tags, all of that. That is awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. And let's see. Amazing. Keep reading the same one over and over again. And I keep going back to it. I would love to know, is there a way to, oh, I'm sorry. No, I was glad to hear you at a kindergarten conference. I was purchasing Secret Story posters and flashcards. They've helped my students so much. Yay. I'm so glad to hear that. I did actually, I brought this one. I have it with me because of the shh, it's secret. So while this is kind of an obvious one, a lot of teachers might use this to talk about SH. If you've not started doing anything with the secrets, this might be a good one to talk about this week when you, for the first time, start trying to pull them in with the idea that there's something really special that's about to be shared. And they do have the stories on the back. And if you do use these, and I'm thrilled that you do, just make sure that you don't feel tied to the way the story is written on the back, because the fact that you can improv it and just kind of, you see it on a wall, because these are posters on the wall. You have to have the posters. If you just have these, it won't work, because you can't share a tool. It's like a buffet where they show you where the potato salad is and then they take it away. So the whole point of putting the potato salad on the buffet is that kids can then go back and get some more potato salad. So these are great when the secrets are on the wall, the posters, and then these are for you as a quick cheat sheet or for kids to use as manipulatives. But don't feel like you've got to always run back and read the story, because kids won't have that luxury. We want kids, and you'll see this in those 2 video clips below on those 2 girls that are going to share those secrets with you. They're taking them to town. I mean, they're having a blast doing a one-woman show with those secrets, just twisting and turning the story everywhere. As long as you land in the sound, fine. So if you're very uptight and worried about being just right when you tell it, and you always tell it exactly the same way, kids might be a little more hesitant when they're trying to use the prompt on the wall to remember the sound or to tell you the story, even though they know the goal of the game, they know the sound, they know the is coming. If they don't know enough English yet, they might hesitate to try to tell you the story. I loved that my little guy would go, look at having and call, no good go, when he'd see the ER. I love that he had no real words in his whole story, because that just meant he was so completely comfortable and felt so much power over that sound that he could see it, and a sound instantly came to his head. And then I knew where to target my efforts with his English, with his vocabulary, with stringing words together in a logical order. It gave me great insight into, I know he knows what he's talking about because he's dramatizing everything. He's got the car, he's got the wheel, he's got the stopping and the brakes. He just doesn't have the vocabulary for that. So we're on the same page, which makes it a lot easier for me to then dig into those holes that obviously are there. But in the meantime, he's in the same race with everybody else. He's got the same ability to see the letters and make the sound, or hear the sound and know the culprit that makes them, which means he's ready to read. He just doesn't have the vocabulary hole stuffed yet. But when he does, think how much ownership of the skills he's got. That won't be the starting point where he gets to start the race everybody else began at the beginning of the year. That's the magic of this back door of the brain. We can give skills to learners, not teach them, which means everybody gets them at the same time, because nobody's really having to learn or eat anything. It's not you as a waitress putting it in front of them. It's you just making this plentiful buffet of the code they really need all of to do anything with anyway, with no expectations, just lots of modeling, lots of rich opportunities for use. Okay, back to my glasses. Let's see. I'm so glad I was able to hear you. Okay, I teach kids with LD. They love the secrets. They have difficulty scanning the wall to find the secret they need. Most of my secrets are in one place. Are controlled and vowels are elsewhere. I think, and I don't know, you said you're LD, so I'm wondering if they come to you. If they come to you, that makes a lot of sense, because it's not, the secrets in a classroom, they're always there. They're always teaching. They're like a computer program that runs for viruses. It's always in the background, always teaching, never off. It's a part of the woodwork of the day. It's never secret story time. It's never phonics time. It's, you're reading and writing across the day. The secrets are just the keys to open those doors as you need them, and the kids are accessing them independently, helping themselves to the Jell-O because they want some, but they don't want the turkey yet. So if you're the LD teacher and you're in a pull-out classroom and they're coming to you sporadically throughout the week, it would take them a little bit more time to get accustomed to not just to finding them on the wall, but even to remembering to pick up the hammer instead of banging it in with their shoe. Because if they're in the classroom and they don't have access to those tools, they're going to grab their go-to thing, whatever the compensation strategy is they have. And it's probably stick down any letter, just write the sight word, just skip the words I don't know. So it makes it harder when you're in a pull-out room, because they have to keep all the tools with you, which means you might really give them these great access to tools to read or write words, and then they can't take those tools with them when they have to go back to the construction site that is their classroom, where they will be reading and writing even more. One way around that, and I don't have one right here, but there's a Porta-Pick. It's a 3-sided trifold. And for SLD classrooms, assuming again that you're pull out, and you may have already said that you are, that you aren't, I didn't read on to see, but assuming that you're not with them full-time LD, those Porta-Picks are great because they can easily find what they're looking for, because it doesn't change and it's with them all day long. They can take it to or fro from your room to their classroom and even at home, and it definitely helps. Otherwise, in an LD classroom, in a pull-out or a resource classroom, maybe organizing them in little clusters as opposed to like a normal classroom where you can just put them all in one wall and kids just get used to it because it's their class. There are some other tricks that if you are artistic, which I am not, you will see on the I think on the blog, and I also think on the Secret Stories website now, where some very, very talented folks cut out the secrets in the shape of the actual secret. So it's easy to find a UIW who are in love and go, because their poster is cut out in the shape of a heart. And it's easy to find that, because their poster is cut out in the shape of a car. And it's easy to find Fonzie going, with EYAY, because theirs is in the shape of a thumb. So that is awesome. And I could never do it, but 2 or 3 teachers have done it. And I think I've put it up on the Facebook page if you scroll down, or you'll also see it on the Secret Stories website if you look at the original posters. I think it's there. And you'll probably also be able to find it on the blog. And feel free to email me if you don't see it, because I will send some links. And when I do one of these Secret Sundays specifically on posters, we'll be able to talk about that too. I can show you some really cool examples and maybe get those folks on the line so they can tell you their secrets for how they did it. Okay. Elizabeth maybe tried Trifold, but okay, so you guys are already ahead of me. So yeah, the guys and the folks that have been doing this forever, they've got all the tricks up their sleeves. So that's why this dialogue is so helpful. And if somebody's answering questions and it's things that you would want to know anyway, either grab their name and then, I mean, even if you want to ask me, a lot of folks I'm in contact with kind of on a good basis because they kind of send me some great aha moments from their classroom. So I can either shoot you their email, I'm sure they wouldn't mind, or like I said, if you want to click on their name while it's still clickable in the chat, then I'm assuming it would take you to their YouTube channel, and then you can message them there too. Okay, I'm a pull out, and I think that's a good point. I'll send the Trifolds to their classes with them to give them more practice. Yeah, and the Trifolds are about $2 a piece, and they're made to last 3 years. They're heavy duty. They're scored, and if you laminate them and you don't teach kinder where they're going to put them in their mouth, they should last about 3 years. So you can use them as a check-in, check-out item, or kids can send, like they send in their Scholastic book money. If they send in $2 a piece, you can get a class set. And the other thing you can do is parent nights are great. And parent nights, you know, we buy thousands of hot dogs for incentives to get kids to bring parents for parent night. Get some Porta-Pics. And then the kids who already think the secrets are just like the end all be all, they get to take home their very own Porta-Pic. And only the kids who come get to take home the Porta-Pic that gets to keep it. The rest of the kids will have one checked out that the school usually gets, laminates, and then reuses for multiple years. But those parents that come not only get a good insight, and this is, again, you'll see this in Amy's post about Santa, because that was the whole reason she did what she did, was to educate and connect the parents in her district. So they not only get that great awareness of what the secrets are, how the kids use them, and then they can help them at home. And I don't mean help teach them the secrets. They don't have to know the secrets. They just have to know the lingo of, what, do you see a secret in that word? Or, well, I don't know. Do you hear a secret in the word owls? Oh, you do? Oh, well, do you see any pictures up here that look like they're making that sound? So the parents can facilitate without knowing any of the secrets. And that makes it fun, not just for the kids, but for the parents, because they feel more empowered as well to really help the kids. And it's really exciting if you have a lot of ELL parents, because they learn with the kids. And I've even seen schools, you know, because of the desire for more nights like that, more so for parents to learn and keep helping kids, they'll actually have a separate track for parents where they do secret story night for parents, and it's ongoing, like once a month. And that just is amazing. So I actually got to do a few of those when I was working with the school district, and it was just incredible. So, and I know I'm over my time, so I will not go past it was supposed to be 30 minutes. So I won't, for your consideration, I won't go past another like few minutes. And if you need to log off, I totally understand. I will be posting that free link it's already posted. The free link's posted, but it's not free yet. So I'll be freeing it up as soon as we sign off. If you need to head out, because I want to answer these. And then also, like I said, I'll be posting the winner in the description of this video. And I'll also post it on Facebook, because I too can't click on your names to alert you directly once the chat's over. Such a great idea. Not a lot of wall space. Love the laser idea. So I must have really missed something there. Do you have the wall space to separate them into chunks around the room? Are your secrets grouped into logical categories? Not a lot of wall space. I like the laser idea. Yeah, having a laser saves you a lot of up and down time as a teacher. So if you have a laser, that's very handy. And there is a teacher that has them on the ceiling, which is kind of cool too. It's the squares. She's got the decorative squares, and she's realized, because they're 12 by 12, almost 12 by 12, a little bit smaller, but they're just the perfect size to go into those ceiling panels. And in the decorative square, it just looked really neat. So that's posted as well. I think that's on Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, then you'll see all of this, because I always post the pictures there, even more so than the blog, just because sometimes a picture's just worth 1,000 words. So you can see that there as well. And I do think actually there's a picture of those. I know there is, as a matter of fact, on the Secret Story website under the decorative squares. I did put that one up there, and I'll be posting more pictures of those too, because some very nice folks sent some of those to me. Trifolds, I used red and yellow counters. Red if they knew and found all of them on their own. Yellow if they tried to. Yeah. Those trifolds also are great, like little bingo assessment boards. And speaking of bingo, there will be some Secret Stories bingo stuff. And I'm going to probably do a giveaway for it, because it's huge and it's awesome. And it's comprehensive, but it's so cool. And I just got it thanks to somebody awesome out there in Seattle named Lorenda. And I think that'll be over the holiday break, because I know it's hard for folks to tune in when the holidays get started. So I wanted to do something really special for everybody that is able to do that and join me during the time. Although I don't know when Secret Sunday falls. If it's Christmas Day, obviously it'll have to be Secret Monday. I haven't looked to see. It wouldn't be Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So hopefully it'll fall at a time that's not too awful or or the day after when everybody's shopping. I find it surprising how many students, all struggling readers I teach in Title I, can find them with more exposure. I take a few minutes to play hide and go seek or bingo trifolds. That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's also fun too to just have all the kids in the room, and we'll do one Secret Sunday just on games. And maybe that'll be the bingo one, but just to say, okay, I'm going to count to 3 and everybody go find a secret. And what that means is not a secret on the wall, but in a word. So they all have to run everywhere in the room and point to something that has a secret in it, but it better be something they can actually read. Now, you don't have to do it this way if it's the beginning part of the year, but that way it makes it even more tricky because they might see, let's say, like an AL secret or an EW or a TION or an SION, but they have to be able to read the word that it's in when you call on them in order to win. So that makes it a little trickier because even though they might spot the secret, they then have to determine whether or not they can read the words, so that as they're standing there pointing to the secret they found, should you be calling on them to tell you what they found, they can read it. That's a fun game, and you can use that to pick who can do something special, because what happens is everybody goes and finds wherever they're going to point for the secret, and then you just call on someone, and if they can tell you the word, then they get to. If they can't, they get to pick someone else. Now, usually they'll all find a word they can actually, identify. The other thing that you can do is, again, you can do this if you're kind of trying to do something else with another teacher there and you need to talk for a second. If you just start the ball rolling with one kid. So they're all there, they're all pointing to their different secret. You call Derek, he tells you, or he says out loud to the kids what the secret is that he found. And he can even add a third step where he has to tell the secret, what the story is. And then he tells you the word. And if he does it right, he picks the next person. And then that person does exactly the same thing, and they can do this forever. So it's a great way to kind of give them running around, lots of moving and stretching, because of course words are everywhere in our classroom. So sometimes they're squatted down, sometimes they're reaching way up. They might even need a ruler to reach up there, going to name tags, color words, and it gets, again, that connection for kids who maybe quite haven't recognized that the is in that word turn. So it just helps literally kids connect a secret to the words that they want to read that are in their own classroom. Super easy, super simple, and yet a really powerful way to do something that a lot of kinders and first grades can't do, which is understand what these skills are for, what they apply to, and the power that they have when they own more and more. That's such a great idea. This game comes with trifolds. Okay, I feel like I've organized them well, but to kids with LD, I'm not sure it's intuitive. Trifolds, I use red and yellow. Okay, I already did that. I use the laser pointer as a game. Oh yeah, and that I remember, Terry, you mentioning that. If they won't put it in people's eyes, partners point to one card with my pointer and the other child tells the sound or the story. They love it. Pointer saves you so much running around. I'm a pull out. Okay, that's what I was saying. Good point, trifolds. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of scroll right down through. Elizabeth, I'm sure the kids in their class will be intrigued by the trifold. Maybe that's a way. Yeah, and I love to see this start with the pullouts, because the kids that teachers least expect to be able to decode or come close to actually building a word, putting it together. And that's what the secrets do when they're writing. And you'll see this in the writing samples. They're building words from whole cloth. They might spell the word they wrong. Like they might spell they in kinder, THAY, because they don't have enough text experience yet to know it's AEY. But by darn it, they'll take a leap to write the word trick or treating, and they'll spell it TRIKER, TRY, because of sneaky Y, TRY, TING. It's amazing to see how easy words become hard and hard words become easy, because they're actually building as they go. So you'll see weird things for sight words that normally classes would have to memorize. And I'm not saying avoid that. I mean, obviously we want them to spell the word they correctly, but you can always reinforce that easily by telling them that's a great way to get the A sound in the word they. I love that you knew that. Now I'm going to tell you a secret. Do you know the one that grown-ups use for that word? It's the other one. Do you know what the other one is? Oh, EY? Yeah, that one. But great job. I love that you knew the sound. Knowing that sound tells you that she could read thousands of words that have either the EY or the AY. And that's the goal of the game, because then she'll get the experience that will fine tune the spelling. So don't, what that shows you is she owns a tool. If she spells the word they correctly, that doesn't necessarily mean she knows the tool. She could just know the sight word. And a sight word's worth one sight word, but a secret's worth thousands of words. So if she spells they right and yet wrong, and I'd call that a proper choice. It's not really invented spelling. Invented spelling is what you have to do with the stuff you don't have secrets for yet. But EY or AY, they can both say A. And just like the examples the person was asking about before for the word make, MAYK, MAIK, or MAKE. Those are all things that if you see in writing tell you, okay, this kid's got some tools that as a reader are going to come in really handy. Now, as a writer, he hasn't gotten yet enough reading experience to fine tune these choices. So that's where you start picking your battles, and little by little, the more common words you help him fine tune. But just know that there's such power over text that child owns that will be realized when he is not even in your classroom, when he's at home, when he's in bed, when he's at the restaurant, in the car, at a road sign. He's the kid who can't turn it off. He's got the skills. He just isn't maybe getting enough time on text for them to start fine tuning. But that's part of why I have the writing samples up on the website with multiple grade level years at different increments, is to show you that you can see the fine tuning occurring. You can see good, bad, ugly, everything in between, high, medium, low samples, but the fine tuning you see occurring across those samples across that time. And you can even track consistency with different students. Does the teacher get all the secrets with the trifolds we can explain to the children? Is it basically the same thing you would get if you purchased the posters? No. The trifolds are supplements. So they're actually, I did everything I could on the site to direct those that put the site together and made it to make sure teachers didn't get the wrong thing. The kit that's everything. The kit is the book, the posters, the CD. And when I say everything, I don't mean it's the trifolds or the cards. I mean, it's all you need to implement. It is everything you need for full implementation. These kinds of things are extra. This is just an extra hands-on way to, have a cheat sheet. Or those those placards are kind of smaller space-sized versions of things of the posters that you can get off the walls and put into kids' hands for manipulative games, activities, sight word, like things on the board where you put sight words and you want to match them up like a wheel to what secret goes with it. It just gives you more manipulative use. The trifolds are just for take home for student support. So they don't have the stories on the back because the goal is not to overwhelm parents with, I've got to teach all this stuff because again, we don't want waitresses. Then it's developmentally appropriate. I would never say teach all these phonics skills to a kindergartner ever. I would never say to teach a UAW on the first day of kindergarten. But the kids get a UAW on the first day of kindergarten, at least if it's August, because I'm not going to say that A says, and then point to the calendar and say that's August or awful or whatever the word might be. So if it's not August, I wouldn't teach a UAW on the first day, but I don't really teach it. I give it. I just tell a story, and I'm going to tell stories all the time. So I'm going to tell stories in 4th grade. I'm going to tell stories in 2nd. All it is a story, and it's no more harmful than reading a story on the first day of school. But for some kids who are ready to pull that gold out of that story right off the bat, they've got access to something that's going to be able to be used that day, the next week, at home, at school, and it's going to build and increase in value as they get more and more and more and more letters and more secrets, and it comes together. And for the kids who aren't ready, it's just a story, and they'll walk around and they'll go, I love letters. We love letters. And that's it's the thing on the buffet that they're not quite ready to eat, but they know where it is and they know what it looks like, and when they're ready, they can go right to it. And you're modeling all the time. So anyway, that's a good question though. So those stories are not on the back. They are just the pictures that are there. So they're a supplement for you to use with the secrets. And by the way, you have in your book the little pictures. So you don't have to have those for small group use, or even if you wanted to send like at a parent conference, one parent home with those to just kind of see how it feels. You can't copy them, but you have at least a set of smaller visuals in the back of your book that are included. And basically that's what the Portapic is. It's just those smaller visuals, but laid out on a trifold. And they, at $2, I think they end up being like $2.10 a piece or something, but you couldn't even make a color copy for that. So they're intentionally kept at cost as what they cost to make, just so, that they're the cheapest and then the most durable way that parents are able to share at home, or if you're a resource that kids can have access. And again, you want those kids in resource to be the leaders in their regular classrooms. The confidence is incredible that they have when they've got access to the code that their cohorts in first don't, or in kinder don't. So that's such a perfect imbalance there, because with that access, they just naturally can do more in terms of putting words together or taking them apart. And it usually freaks the teacher out because she's not expecting that, least of all from that little guy. He shouldn't even have learned that, let alone be able to actually do it with these. So it's fun, I think, to see that seed start to sprout out in a pull-out classroom with kids before it gets into the regular eds. Do teachers get all the Oh, that's when I did. Okay, it's a set of 25. Thank you. I love that you guys are answering things before I do. I love that. Thank you. Shakira posted a link. Oh, good. And there's a link there. Where do I find all the links? I don't see them in the chat. They're not in the chat, at least the ones I did. Those are in the description for the video. So you'll see those. I have to add the links for the WordGel and for the Better Alphabet, which I'll do. The other ones are already in there. She puts them up after stopping. Oh, thank you. Okay, so I'm covered. This is awesome. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close, and I am so grateful that you got to join me, and I figured it'd be a smaller crowd today with everybody out doing all their Christmas shopping. So thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I just appreciate it so much. And I wish that you could tell me in the chat what topics you would like to cover. I kind of have a game plan, like I said, to hit this, what makes things important to kids, and scraping deeper into the pieces of the brain science that go along with that. Tonight was secrets, next time social emotional backdoor. But tell me things beyond, I mean, things that you want to know. I know what I want to share, but there are things you want to know. So what you can do is in the comments of the video that will go to 0 as soon as this is over, because none of these comments, unfortunately, go into the comments naturally. So I will post them all, cut and paste into the very first comment. And then under that, if you can comment to me and just please let me know things that you would like specifically for me to touch on. I promise I am making a list. I already started it from the last one that we did, and I'm using that to really form a game plan. So thank you so much. And I think everybody that's already been answering things, I think it's already there. So thanks to everybody that tuned in to help answer questions, as well as those of you that tune in to just ask them. And if you're new and don't know anything about the secret stories, I hope that you will download what is going to be free for the next hour. It's 6 o'clock Eastern time, so it'll be free until 7 o'clock Eastern time. And that is those mini mats. There is a long, big classroom anchor that goes with it and matches it. A lot of you have that, which is why I made the mini mats free. Plus you can give those to kids for their present. But there is an anchor that goes with it that you'll see a link for when you download it for free in that product description. So that's handy to use those two things together. And as far as the winner goes for tonight, I promise I will put that in the post once I have my daughters close their eyes, and I'm going to just scroll up and down and up and down and up and down, and their finger will stay the same, and then we'll match it up, and I will let you know who the winner is for tonight. So thanks so much, and I will see y'all next Sunday. And thank you so much for joining me, and have a happy last week of school. So good luck, and don't forget to tell secrets.